Well, I guess we're starting again. This is probably part one of a two-part segment on our physical health. As we grow older, I know you and I both are experiencing some of the negative effects of aging on the body. What I mean with that is that have you ever gotten up in the morning and you have unexplained pains in your feet? Or your joints. Say your knees aren't feeling as good as they once did. For no apparent reason and no fault of your own, you just feel that way. Well, this is part of the aging process, sadly. But we need to keep on moving, and that's part of our wellness activity time this morning. But what are the benefits of being active as a senior? Well, we're going to talk about those. I'm going to try to scroll down here and discuss those with you. But feeding your body and your mind as you grow older is important. Healthy eating. I'm in the kitchen, and in the kitchen is where a lot of families have spent all their times of we gather, we have fellowship, we have meals, we communicate, and it's all usually around food. So eating healthy is very important. I know I've done videos in the past about eating healthy, but making sure that we have a balanced diet. My mother, I remember years and years ago, when I would call her, I'd ask her what she ate for dinner, and she was at this point a widow, and she said, well, I'm having some coffee and some crackers. Now, I want you to know something. It's not uncommon for seniors to eat very unhealthily, if that's a word, or have a very unhealthy diet, simply because it's a lot of trouble to cook for one. So smart eating is important because you're able to do a lot of things when you eat smart. You can live longer, but not just live longer, but you can live healthier and stronger. Good nutrition can boost our immune system, and that means that we're more resistant to getting sick. And you're able to fight illnesses better than you would normally if you did not have a good, proper diet. Also, wards off type 2 diabetes, as well as cancer and a host of other things like bone loss and other things like that. But also when you eat properly or eat, let's say, fresh vegetables and fruits, it sharpens your mind. So people who eat a lot of fresh vegetables and fruit, as well as fish or nuts, eating the omega-3. Now there's two fatty acids. The omega-3 is the good one found in fish and nuts, but those are the ones we need to maintain. I'm trying to eat more fruit and nuts. I take fruit to work with me now. I have a bag of almonds or something to snack on during the course of the day, and that's important. But it does help us with our cognitive functions, helps us be sharper emotionally and mentally. Those are important things. But one thing you may notice right away, it helps you feel better. It gives you more energy. So when you have more energy, you look better. Now, we all want to look good in our old age, but the better we eat, so the more proper nutrition-based diet we have, the better we look, because we don't look tired and worn out. I remember I've gone to work so many times and people say, are you tired? Are you worn out? Because you look kind of bad. And I said, no, I feel okay, but it's because I wasn't eating a proper diet, and it kind of takes away from our youthful energy. But that's one of the things. But healthy eating is more than just food. It's the whole process. There's a social atmosphere in eating, normally around the table, but it changes maybe when you're alone. And so it's important that we kind of modify the way we live when we're alone. Getting on the phone with others, maybe if you can do it safely, maybe go shopping at a point in the day when there's not many people at the grocery store, and do it with a friend. And I would recommend you wear masks, take all the safety precautions, keep your hands washed before and after you enter the grocery store. Maybe have a bottle of hand sanitizer or wipes, disinfectant wipes in the car. And those are important things to have. But shop with a friend, and that helps you because it gives you encouragement. Matter of fact, you may be able to encourage each other to eat well. Instead of, like me, I look back here in the pantry, I might see there might be a couple bags of Doritos, which is one of my guilty pleasures. I would love to have my wife with me when I bought them, because she would have talked me into buying something different, maybe something from the produce aisle. But that's here nor there. They're here now, okay? But cooking with others. If you have an opportunity to cook with others, go over to their house, sit down and talk about a meal, plan a meal. And if there's someone you know who's also safe and they don't get up much, or maybe it's a relative that you know is safe, have a nice time of meal preparation. It's always, if you can do it without fighting. Like my wife and I have to, we have a process. She cooks and I help her, but I can't overstep my bounds because I get in the way and she makes me leave the kitchen. So do what you can. If you work with someone in the kitchen, if you do it well, you do it well. But that also helps. It can be a fun way to deepen your relationship with someone else by cooking with them. But if you're married, it could be one of those things that could hurt your marriage. I don't know. It just depends on you. But making mealtime a social experience is important. I know that we have a couple of our seniors who live for those times where they can have lunch together. They have gone to different places and experiencing some of the best meals they've ever had, simply because it was in the presence of a friend. So you can eat a meal one day, but have the same exact meal with your best friend, and it will be the best experience ever. So keep that in mind. Please look for those relationships. Again, we can base them around food. A lot of seniors don't eat enough calcium, don't have enough calcium in their diets. And good sources of calcium are found in, say, milk and yogurt and cheese, and even things like broccoli and kale. I don't like kale. You'd have to disguise it heavily to make me eat it, but I love broccoli, and I could eat broccoli. A tiny bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, sometimes just pepper, and it's great. I love it. I put it in the microwave for a couple of minutes, a little bit of water for steam, and it comes out perfect. But those are good sources of calcium, and calcium helps to prevent osteoporosis as well as bone fractures. So you may have fallen and maybe fractured a hip at one time. Having a good balanced diet, which is rich in calcium, can help prevent those fractures. Also here, looking at vary your sources of protein. As you age, eating high quality protein is good. It helps our moods. It helps us to be emotionally stable, even in an unstable world. But it keeps us from stressing sometimes, helps ward off anxiety and depression, and helps us think more clearly. And I'm reading this from a wonderful website, and I'll cite that at the end of the video. But having good sources of protein is good, but we need to steer clear of processed meats. We think that maybe hot dogs is a good source of protein, and bacon and other bologna. They are really not. They're bad for you because they're processed, but those things will increase your risk of heart disease, cancer, and a host of other problems. So make sure that you vary your source of protein and don't just rely on things like red meat. But you can find protein in beans, peas, eggs, nuts, seeds. Add those to your diet for a change. I remember back when I was a kid, eating fiber was the new thing. Increasing fiber in your diet. We should aim for Well, women should have, over 50 should have at least 21 grams of fiber in their diet per day, and men should have at least 30 grams of fiber in their diets per day. Unfortunately, most folks don't get half that amount, but having fiber helps us ward off, again, these terrible ailments, including heart disease, stroke, diabetes. Fiber helps the quality of your skin. It also helps us to lose weight. So as you age, digestion becomes less efficient. So fiber is very important as we age. So carbohydrates, be careful. Actually, I want to tell you, be smart about your carb intake. Carbohydrates are found mainly in processed white flour. We see these in bread. We see them in sugar, and those are sources of refined carbohydrates. But we want to have something different. We want to have complex carbs. And how we do that is changing our diet, instead of having white rice, I try to find something else that might be substitute for that. Because these carbs can spike your blood pressure, but your blood sugar rather. Let's see. Wheat bread, other sources of carbs are very good like that. So our complex carbs, the refined ones, are bad ones, by the way. Coping with changes in our diets, physical changes that affect your diet. Your metabolism changes. Matter of fact, I remember when I used to have a metabolism. My wife and I, when we got married, I was a skinny man with lots of good-looking hair. My hair was jet brown. So back in the day, but things happen. My metabolism has changed, has slowed down, especially during the course of the last 10 years. I gained a lot of weight, and the more I find myself sitting, the more prone I am to gain weight, especially during the COVID time where I don't get out very much. But I could. My wife is losing weight because she is constantly walking. If you are a walker, you are probably in a good position right now. I try to walk, but I don't feel like walking. And if you're like me, you have to force yourself to do it. I have a couple big giant dogs here, and I'm surprised they're not in the video right now in the kitchen with me. But these big giant dogs like to walk. They need to walk, and we have a big field adjacent to the house, and it's there and back is over a quarter mile or more, and so I do that in the morning sometimes before I go to work, and it's good for me. It gets my metabolism started. But these are important things to start your day. Let's see, lifestyles that change your diet, that affect your diet. We're going to talk about that at the next video clip. So this will be part one of the video, part one of 3. So part 1 is closing, so I can have it in the compressed format so I can load it. The second part of installment of this will be a continuation, beginning with lifestyle changes that affect your diet.